Hey everybody, it's Rick again here with AirgunWeb, Gateway to Airguns. I have got a bunch of stuff on the table here. Sue, my wife is here helping me out. Hi, Sue.
Hi, babe.
Show them what we got here. I mean, mostly we have a bunch of Hawke stuff. We have this obscure, how dare it be on the table scope too. We're going to talk about all of that. So the whole reason I'm doing this is I had a comment from someone on one of our videos asking about if a particular gun came with a scope. And it didn't. It's actually something you had to buy extra. And I asked him, would, a video on how do you know what scope to buy be useful? He said, yeah, it would be super useful. And also how to set one up. Well, I've done this setup multiple times. You guys could check that out on my channel. I've done several how to set up your scope. We actually have one Sue and I filmed recently that's being edited that's going to be published in the next few weeks or so. So we have that. But I really haven't talked a lot about how to pick a scope. So let's talk about it. So on the table here, I have everything from under 100 to well over 1,000. And if you're new to guns, you're new to air guns, you get into air guns because they're cheap and affordable, right? So you're not going to be looking to spend $1,200 on a scope. I get you. I feel you. Once you get into the sport, however, and you start seeing what really good glass looks like, then you start saying, maybe it's not a bad idea. Maybe I want to spend some more money on a scope. So I'm going to try as quickly as possible, kind of talk about some things you want to look for and some of what we have here on the table, what they deliver. Wind's picking up. Hopefully the audio is okay. I hope it is. I mean, it's really picking up now. I'm like blowing like this. Yeah. I was going the wrong way, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's timely because I just got in the new McCavity arms. This is the production model, the 25 cal sniper, super nice air gun, but it needs a scope. So we have all these options. Which would I put on here? Well, because I have it, I'm going to go right to the Frontier 34. Okay, so that is a $1,300 scope. It's the best glass Hawke makes. It's phenomenal. And the features that make this phenomenal are this massive tube. It's a 34 millimeter tube. If we compare that to a 1-inch tube, if you can see the difference between the thickness, right? So the bigger the tube, the more light gets through, the better the image. So your typical 1-inch tube isn't going to transmit nearly as much light as this bad old, bad to the bones 34 millimeter tube. Contrast that with a 30 mil tube, and it's very difficult to tell the difference, but there is a difference between the two. You almost maybe need to see them in person to see the difference. Other features on this is they're super clear glass, multi-coated, it's very, 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 very good. And it's worth the money that you're paying. You want to flip that up? It's worth the money that you're paying. It's super clear. This one goes, I think, from 5 to 30. Yeah, so we go from 5 to 30. We take a look at this 1-inch tube model. It goes from 4 to 16, and that's about all you can squeeze out of a 1-inch tube. You can try to go 6 to 24, but I'm telling you that's going to be a tough road. But with this big, wide 34 millimeter tube, it really gives you the additional ability to go that really wide magnification range. So 5 to 30, it's pretty awesome. Okay, but I get it. You just got a $200 air gun, or let's say you just got this air gun is going to be less than $500. So you're not going to spend $1,200 on a scope. What I generally tell people to do, at some point in your career in air gunning, you should sort of look at whatever you spend on the gun, be willing to spend that on the scope. Okay, you get to that point. Not everybody's there yet. So if you spend $500 on the gun, be willing to spend $250, so half what you spend on the gun, like when you're starting out. So if you got $500 in the gun, look for about a $250 scope. That's generally kind of not bad math in your head. So if I'm looking at what I have here on the table, I'm going to start right here on this budget scope. Now, when I ran Airgun Pro Shop, we sold a bunch of these scopes. Now, why? Were they the most awesome scope we could get? Not at all. They're like, I think they're $70 to $80. They're very, very affordable. But they're 4 to 16. They have a mil dot crosshair. They have adjustable objective, and they are have an adjustable objective mil dot, and they're illuminated. Are they like this? Because this scope if I were to look at just the paper specs, this is very, very similar. This is this 4 to 50? Let's take it out. Let's take it out of the box. Oh no, keys. Okay. So these are an Amazon special. Like I said, they're 70, 80 bucks, maybe 90. I don't know. I haven't checked the prices in years, so I don't know. I've just had these sitting in the comics. All right, so it comes with mounts. It's basically your sort of very, very much a starter setup scope. There's a reason we sold a ton of them. I found them to be pretty decent, at least. It even comes with the sunshade. It's pretty cool. Okay, so it has a 40 mil objective, looks like. Okay, 40 mil objective. Sorry, moving it faster for my wife to keep track of. It's 4 to 16. Okay. Adjustable objective. It's got what looks like locking turrets. It's got a lot of kind of cool features, okay? When you look through it, if you're shooting in your backyard, 25, 50 yards, this is perfectly fine. That's why we sold so many of them. If you're new, you're getting into air guns, like if this is your gun and you're gonna be shooting and you're not pushing out past 50 yards, this is actually really good. And for under 100 bucks, it's gonna get you going for a good long time. It's similar to a center point or a UTG or one of those guys. The Pinties I found to be good. There's another one like C Live or something. I think they're basically the same scope with a different screen print on it. I don't know that for sure, but it sure seemed that way. Just a great little starter scope. You're new to it. I wouldn't put this on a brake barrel. Okay, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But wire reticle, basic, good to 50 yards, no problem. If you want to be able to shoot beyond that, you want to go to like that 100 yards, you want to stretch things out. That's when you start looking at a little better glass. And I'm going to try and hurry this up for my wife because I can see she's like, I've got to hold this camera. All right, so if you want to go up, the Vantage IR, that's this line. It looks very similar. It has the same features. It has illuminated reticle, mil dot. It's not wire reticle though. This is an etched glass reticle. You could put this on a brake barrel. This is like close to 300 bucks, okay? So it's a lot more money. You can get like a 4 to 6, this is the 4 to 16. You can get a 3 to 9 or maybe a 4 to 12. You can get in that range with those, save a little bit of money. I like the 4 to 16 just as a go-to. I think this is like 269, 289, so a little more money. We get into some of these others. We get into like the Vantage. This guy here is the Vantage wide angle side focus. Now we're on a side focus parallax. We have. Could you put it back on the box? Sure. Easier for you. Okay, so you have side focus parallax instead of the front parallax. This is also a 4 to 12 or 4 to 16. 4 to 16. This is sort of a compact scope. I kind of like that. Okay. Anyway, I mean, there you go. They have these. They have the Vantage in first focal plane, second focal plane. Then you start moving up into like the Sidewinder. I think I brought one here. Yeah. So this is for Sidewinder. Now you're looking into good glass. Multi-coated, very, very much multi-coated optics. Super nice, but now you're getting to that $600 to $900 range, plus or minus. I don't know the pricing off the top of my head. And they have various formats. Like this, I think is... This first focal plane. I have a 6 to 24 that's not first focal plane. I love that for shooting targets, shooting paper targets, because when I zoom all the way in, I get more aim points on my reticle. It's just the way the first and second focal plane works. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I think like this is your standard. Like this is the compact. That's your standard. So it's a little bit bigger, right?
Can't see with your hand.
Sorry. Oops.
Yeah.
A little longer. Yeah. All right. I'm not sure if that's the compact. Compact, I think, is even smaller. This is the compact. Here we go. This is my 3 to 12 compact. There you go. Okay. So there's the Vantage compact. And then we have the standard Vantage. This one is... Okay. I don't know why this would be short or a little bit longer. This is the I got it. I apologize. This is not a Vantage. That's an Air Max. That was the missing in-between one I was thinking about. So as you come out of the Vantage, you go into the Air Max, out of the Air Max into the Sidewinder, out of the Sidewinder into the Endurance, which we don't have any here, and then from the Endurance into the Frontier. That's basically the Hawke line, and they go everywhere from like 180, like on the low-end Vantage, up to like 12 and some change. Now, I'm super familiar with the Hawke products primarily because they're a sponsor. They've been a sponsor for like ever. And they've been a great sponsor and the products are great. So I have had zero reason to go look for another sponsor anywhere, right? So we sold the Pinties because they're super affordable and I would have no qualms if under certain circumstances recommending that scope. You know, if you're just getting started, you want just a decent optic to throw it on there. You're not going to put it on a brake barrel. You just want to shoot out to 25, 50 yards. Perfectly acceptable. When you want to start looking at better glass, you want a clearer picture, where you'll see this start to break down is when you zoom all the way into 16 power and start trying to see out past 50 yards. You get 75 yards, 100 yards, a little bit further. It starts to get not clear. And if you can't see it, can't hit it. And that's where better glass will give you better results downrange. So when you're looking at these different scopes, some things that just recap, you want parallax, right? You want to be able to adjust your focus. That's not really what it is, but we're just going to use that phrase for simplicity. And whether it's front focus or front parallax or side parallax, you want to be able to do that on an air gun. You want a mil-dot reticle. So you can go with a wire reticle, which is way cheaper, or you can go with an etched glass. I like etched glass. It's clearer, it's crisper, and it generally will hold up to like brake barrel use. And then we get into your magnification range. Backyard, basic hunting, 50 yards, 4 to 16 is really, really good. If you're going to be shooting 100 beyond, well, maybe you want to go 24, but make sure you're going to be going to 24 power. You need to get into that higher quality glass or it's just going to be milky. You're not going to be able to use it anyway. So those are some tips. I know I barely even got to like anywhere near all the things you got to think about when you're buying a scope, but here's some options, some things to think about. Hopefully that's helpful. If there's more questions, like specific questions you have, let me know. I'll do my best to answer them for you in another video. Right now, that's gonna be it. My name's Rick here with AirgunWeb and Gateway Airguns. Thanks for watching.